It was a quiet afternoon that would soon turn into one of the loudest moments in the world of entertainment. Freen and Becky, the duo whose chemistry had defined an entire generation of fans, finally sat down for what would become the most emotional interview of their careers. After years of rumors, speculation, and countless denials, they were finally ready to speak. And what they said that day shook the internet to its core. For years, Freen and Becky had been inseparable. From the moment they appeared together on screen, audiences couldn't help but feel that there was something genuine behind the smiles and the way they looked at each other. But behind the glamour and fan meetings, they carried the weight of silence, of not being able to share what truly existed between them. When the interview began, no one expected what was about to unfold. The host started with the usual questions about upcoming projects and their experiences working together. But then came the question that everyone had been waiting years to hear. Freen, Becky, are you two more than just co-stars? There was a long pause. Freen looked at Becky, and Becky smiled faintly before glancing down, her hands trembling slightly. The silence felt like it lasted forever. Then, Freen took a deep breath and said softly, "We've always wanted to protect something beautiful. Something that started long before fame ever came into the picture." The room fell silent. The interviewer, surprised but composed, asked, "So, it's true?" Freen nodded slowly. Becky's eyes filled with tears as she reached out and held Freen's hand, saying, "We were scared of how the world would see us. But love like this deserves to be seen." Those words broke the internet within minutes. Fans from all over the world flooded social media with messages of support, disbelief, and tears. Hashtags with their names trended globally within an hour. People replayed the interview over and over, searching for every expression, every detail, every moment that confirmed what they had all secretly hoped was true. But behind the beautiful confession was a long, painful journey. For years, Freen and Becky had lived under the shadow of constant rumors, each headline questioning their friendship, every gesture magnified and turned into gossip. They had denied it, not because it wasn't real, but because they were afraid. Afraid of what fame might take from them if they revealed the truth. Freen once admitted privately that the pressure was unbearable. "There were days I couldn't sleep," she had said in a past interview, "because every time I looked online, I saw people fighting over us, defending us, doubting us, and sometimes tearing us apart." Becky, on the other hand, had always been the quieter one. She never addressed the rumors directly, but her actions always spoke louder than words, standing by Freen through every challenge, every controversy, and every spotlight moment. Their bond had survived fame, scrutiny, and years of silence. And now, in one emotional confession, the world finally saw the truth they had been guarding all along. The aftermath was intense. Entertainment outlets couldn't stop replaying the interview. Some called it brave, others labeled it risky. But fans saw it differently. To them, it wasn't about fame or image. It was about honesty, vulnerability, and love that had stood the test of time. In the days that followed, Freen and Becky disappeared from the public eye. They stayed quiet, choosing not to release any statements or post online. People wondered if the pressure had gotten to them again. But a week later, they made a quiet return, this time, hand in hand, at a fan event. The crowd erupted into cheers and tears. Becky smiled shyly, and Freen couldn't stop looking at her. They didn't need to say a word. Their presence said everything. For the first time, they didn't hide. And for the first time, they looked completely at peace. Behind the scenes, close friends revealed that their decision to go public wasn't sudden. It was something they had talked about for months. Freen wanted to do it the right way, not through leaked photos or online speculation, but in their own voices when they were both ready. Becky had agreed, saying she didn't want their story to be told by anyone else. Their confession marked a new chapter, not just in their relationship, but in the industry itself. It showed that love doesn't need to hide behind scripted moments or PR management. It can exist freely, even in a world built on appearances. After years of whispers, Freen and Becky's truth was finally out. And it wasn't just a confession, it was a declaration of courage, a promise to stand by each other no matter what came next. Even now, months after that emotional interview, fans still revisit the clip. Every time, they notice something new, the way Becky's voice trembled when she spoke, or how Freen's hand never left hers. It wasn't just another celebrity revelation. It was a moment of raw, unfiltered humanity that reminded everyone what real love looks like. Their story continues to inspire millions, not because of the fame or the headlines, but because of what it stands for: two people who chose love, honesty, and authenticity in a world that often punishes all three. And as Freen once said in a quiet moment after the interview, the truth may shake the world, but it also sets the heart free. That was the moment the whispers finally turned into something louder, something real, something lasting. The kind of love story that doesn't just trend for a day, but lives in the hearts of everyone who's ever believed in love that defies time, fame, and fear. In the weeks that followed their emotional confession, Freen and Becky found themselves at the center of both admiration and chaos. The world couldn't stop talking about them. Entertainment networks replayed the interview every night, while social media turned their names into a symbol of courage and love. But behind the bright headlines and endless praise, the two women were facing something more personal: learning how to live freely after years of hiding. For the first time in years, they could walk side by side without looking over their shoulders. They could laugh in public, attend events together, and speak openly about the bond that had always been there. Yet, the transition from secrecy to openness wasn't as easy as it looked. Fame had always come with its own shadows, and this time, those shadows fell heavier than ever. Freen once told a close friend that the days after the interview were both beautiful and terrifying. "We finally told the world the truth," she said. But that truth came with a weight. Now, everything we do, every word we say, will be analyzed in ways we never imagined. Becky, ever the quiet strength between them, reassured her. "We've survived worse," she whispered. "We'll survive this too." But as the love poured in from fans, so did the criticism. Some questioned their motives, suggesting it was a publicity stunt. Others doubted if their relationship could withstand the pressure. There were even online debates about whether this revelation would affect their careers. Despite it all, Freen and Becky stayed grounded. They decided not to engage in any negativity and focused instead on what truly mattered: the connection that had brought them this far. They began spending more time away from the spotlight, traveling quietly and surrounding themselves with people who had known them before the fame. It was during one of those quiet trips that Becky decided to write something personal for Freen, a handwritten letter that would later go viral when Freen mentioned it during a small fan event. The letter read, "I never wanted the world to love us. I just wanted you to know that I always did. Even in silence, even when it hurt to pretend, my heart never changed. Thank you for being brave enough for both of us." Those words spread like wildfire. Fans called it one of the most romantic gestures they had ever seen. But for Freen, it was more than that. It was a reminder of everything they had fought through. That night, after reading the letter again, she called Becky and simply said, "Let's stop hiding," completely. Soon after, they started appearing together more often, not as co-stars or business partners, but as two people in love. They attended award shows, charity events, and even casual outings without fear. And while the cameras followed them everywhere, they no longer flinched. They smiled, waved, and let the world see what had always been there. In one of their most talked about appearances, they arrived hand in hand at a red carpet charity gala. Freen wore a white suit, elegant and composed, while Becky stunned in a soft pink gown. Reporters shouted questions, flashes went off, and yet all they did was smile at each other before walking past the noise. That image became iconic: two women standing together, unshaken, proud, and deeply in love. But the most emotional moment came when Becky spoke during an acceptance speech for a humanitarian award they both received. Her voice trembled as she looked at Freen and said, "You taught me that love is not something we need to apologize for. It's something we live for." The entire hall erupted into applause. Freen couldn't hold back her tears, and as she stepped up to the microphone, she said softly, "We didn't come here to change the world. We just wanted to stop hiding in it." That line became one of the most quoted phrases of the year. It wasn't just about love, it was about truth, courage, and the freedom to be seen for who you are. Months later, they released a joint video message to their fans, thanking them for the endless support. "We've learned that love is strongest when it's shared with honesty," Freen said. Becky added, "and that no matter how hard the world tries to silence it, real love always finds its way to be heard." As the video ended, the two looked at each other and smiled. No script, no performance, just pure connection. Behind the scenes, friends revealed that they had been planning something special, a short film project that would tell their story through art, music, and emotion. It wasn't just another work collaboration. It was a love letter to everyone who had ever been told to stay silent. The announcement of that project broke records online. Fans called it a revolution in storytelling, two real people using their truth to inspire others. When it finally premiered, the response was overwhelming. Tears, cheers, and messages of hope filled the internet once again. As the credits rolled on the screen, one message appeared: "This is not just our story. It's for everyone who has ever loved quietly and waited for the world to understand." Even now, Freen and Becky's confession remains one of the most talked about moments in Asian entertainment. It wasn't just about romance. It was about honesty, strength, and the beauty of love that refuses to be hidden. And as time goes on, one thing has become certain: their love didn't just shake the internet, it changed it. Forever.